back down, back down. How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish. This is my flooded McLaren P1, and I am not ready for what we're about to do.
And that's because when you buy a $2 million hypercar at a deep discount because it was in a major flood, nothing goes according to plan.
That's the sound that the car's gonna make when we first start it up.
But despite eye-watering dealer parts prices, rusty bolts, and fighting us every step of the way, we made some good progress on taking this car apart, but the worst was yet to come.
Now this car is a shell of its former self because we took apart the actual shell of the car, and I need to take apart the entire wiring harness, but a big part of that is removing everything in the back of the car, namely the engine, transmission, hybrid drive assembly, and all of the hoses and wires that come with it. So this is gonna be an episode that I've been dreading, but also very excited about because I get to take out the engine from a P1. Now here's a problem. We don't actually have a steering wheel for this car, so we have to put our hands in harm's way here. Okay. All right, first lift of a McLaren P1. 3, 2, 1, go.
Not gonna work.
Back down, back down, back down, back down. That's why we do the shake test, everyone. That's why we do the shake test.
Oh. I just let go of it. That was a let go test.
Oh my God. Okay, so here is what just happened. We're not trying to be sketchy at all. We're trying to do things as safely and as efficiently as possible. So this car has 2 sets of jacking points. One set that's further inboard and then another set that's further back. We chose the backmost point, and still there's so much weight on the back of this that this thing just tips. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to kind of cantilever the weight, and we're gonna lift the rear of the car up so then it's a little bit raked forward, and then we're gonna ratchet strap both ends of this just so it's literally strapped down to the lift, because I don't want anything happening to this. I don't want anything happening to anybody that's working on this. Yeah, that was a little scary. I don't want this car to fall off the lift. So we now have the front double strapped. There are ratchet straps all over the front of that, and Jack is doing his best to. Yep,
Good.
that's good. I am now 10% less terrified.
As scared as I was to take this P1 apart, I had to remind myself that this car only had 300 miles on the clock. A fact I knew because I used Car Vertical to check this McLaren P1's history. Not only is Car Vertical the most complete vehicle history report you can get, but it's more affordable and easier to use than the competitors. With their new website and app available on the App Store and Google Play, it's never been simpler to research the history of your next vehicle. My McLaren P1, despite its run-in with the hurricane, had no accident damage or history of theft. So that, to me, makes Car Vertical worth its weight in gold. It's absolutely essential that you research any car before you buy it. And with my special discount code, it's a no-brainer. Use the code Tavarish at checkout to get 10% off your order. Click the link in the video description below and get peace of mind on your next car purchase. Because every vehicle has a story, and mine was just about to get good.
So here is the downpipe, and there's a V-band here, and I am about 90% sure that this is full of water, or it's full of something. So if we take the V-band off, we should be able to see if there's any water in the exhaust, because that's the only way it got into the engine. All right, that's good and rusted. There we go. Woo! Oh, that's good. Oh! All right.
That's no good.
Wasn't full of water. Hey, maybe the turbos are still good.
Maybe it'll turn.
They're not still good. This is looking scarier by the second. We have taken out the intercooler, we have taken out the oil reservoir thing, and if you take a look over here, look at that turbo. That looks nasty. That looks really, really bad. So that turbo is seized, and we've taken off the brakes, and this is looking not too great, the wheel bearing, but it's not a big deal because we can just order a new one. But right now we have to take off this suspension because everything here has to come off in order for us to get to a bolt and also to take the axles out. And one thing I noticed, and one thing the guys noticed, is that these were leaking. Every single corner was leaking, and it's really unrealistic for these to leak all at the same time. But what happened here is you can see the copper washers, they just degraded and corroded, and you can see that it all came out of here. And all we have to do is replace these washers, and hopefully this all works. I mean, fingers crossed. I'm gonna cross all my fingers there. But now we take this off, and then the engine should come out. And then we're done, right?
Yeah. Then, yeah, we're done.
And then we're done. And then we don't have anything else to do. And then we just have a car that we can leave back on the lift for another year.
Listen, we don't finish anything around here anyway. So.
We never finish anything around here. That's true. Yeah. All right, let's not finish this. Or let's finish.
This is done.
It's done. It's done. Yeah, we're already done.
This is how we consider things done.
That's it.
Good, yeah. This is done. Look at it. Look how done it is. So one thing I'm really kind of concerned about is the fact that this is a very high pressure system, and it's under something like 3,000 PSI. Now, the car is obviously not running, pump's not running, so it's not gonna be at that pressure. Also, it's been leaking quite a bit, but anything could happen when I try to open this up. Jack just gave me some glasses. That's good. So we have some layer of protection from 3,000 PSI of pressure. Don't do this at home, kids. Okay, it's just leaking now. Okay, that's fine. Now we can just let it leak out. Oh! Remember when I said just let it leak out? I should have just let it leak out. All right, good. Let's do that. So Jack found a little bit of water in the intercooler. It's still coming out, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me shake it a little bit. Look at this.
Oh my goodness. This is all fluids that come from the, look how much crap is coming out of this car.
We brought the beach to your shop.
I'm gonna try to get this axle out. 1, 2, 3. Haha! All right. One P1 axle completely out of the car. And it's an 11 part number, which means that it's not actually a P1 axle. Sweet. Oh, there we go.
It's crying.
Ah! Look at that.
Bleeding.
Look at the absolute state of this garage. This is a lot, man. There's a lot's going on right now. So, engine's still in the car, but we've made a lot of progress. Got the downpipes off, and I don't know if you can see this. That is nasty junk in the turbos. That's clay, that is sand, that's marbled mystery oil, and that is a very, very seized turbo. Those turbos need to go bye-bye or get rebuilt or something. So this all needs to come apart, and then I think this just comes down, doesn't it?
That's how it happens. Just like, you know, done.
Yeah, just boom.
Let's do this.
Boom.
Just two
We
bolts
just-
and that's it.
Just boom.
One bolt, two bolts.
One bolt or two bolts?
2 bolts, I'd say. What about you?
Maybe two.
Okay. 2 bolts,
And a hacksaw.
2 bolts and a hacksaw, and we're done. We are now removing the suspension and all the hydraulic components because it's probably going to be easier to put everything back together when everything is sort of apart and not just kind of flailing around. Just for like peace of mind right now, we don't want anything getting pinched, so we're taking everything off. It is getting pretty late, but we're still on track to take this big Chungus engine out. One really cool thing is that this is an intercooler pump, and it's in this cool little carbon fiber box here. But this intercooler pump, it's upside down right here. This is EMP. This is made by EMP. And this is exactly the same intercooler pump as the one I have in that Gallardo, the aftermarket intercooler pump. So these can be gotten. I don't have to go to McLaren for it. This actually might be good because the connectors don't have any corrosion on them. So that's good. But I am super stoked that they would use an aftermarket part and then just put it in an OEM box and they're like, yeah, it's fine. It's a McLaren part. It's definitely not. So down here is, well, you think that we evacuated all the water out of this car, right? No, not even close. So down here is the turbo. That's turbo. You can see how rusted it is right there. I'm fairly certain that this turbo is seized because of the amount of water that's in it. Yep, there we go. Now, I would not want to drink that water. This MAF housing, I don't know if you can see it, but here's another parts bin thing. So right there you can see that there's a Mercedes emblem on the on the connector, so that's nice. I think these might be Mercedes MAFs or at least Bosch MAFs, so I can get those because these are definitely not going to be good. 1 and 2. Oh my God.
Nice.
How is there still that much water in this?
Yeah.
Well, the turbo's gonna work now.
Yeah.
Sure. For sure.
Oh, nice.
That looks like actual crap.
Hey, I hate to break it to you, bro, but you bought a piece of crap.
Now I know this hunk of metal behind me really looks like we haven't done much other than disconnect some wires and hoses, but this is ready to come out. This engine and transmission assembly and hybrid drive assembly is ready to come out, and it is right around midnight, and we started about 12 hours ago. So
It's past midnight.
it's past midnight?
12.
Oh no. It's past midnight,
You lied to us. You said we're gonna get it done at 6:30.
I told the guys that we were going to get it done at 6:30. I did not tell them what day. So I feel like I'm still good. We are going to put some jack stands underneath because this all has to come out the bottom. And then we're going to maneuver that underneath and then see how many lines and stuff we break when we try to take this out. Because there's like 10,000 things you have to undo in this car. It's insane. I've never had a car with this much stuff in it. Watch your eyes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, go. So far, so good.
Yeah. Oh,
It just, it stuck. It just stuck. I was like,
That's a sign. It wants you to send it. Yeah, you're good. Clear.
go ahead.
That's everything.
Keep going.
Should clear. That's it. It's clear.
dude, did we successfully unmarry a P1 engine?
We did it. That's good. Hold on.
Yeah, that's good too.
Go.
Good?
Yep.
Yep.
Hell yeah!
Yo.
Holy. Alright.
Yeah.
There.
Holy crap, man. I told you it wasn't that hard. Welcome, everyone. It is the next morning, and I look like this. So I haven't slept basically at all because I was so excited to see what this thing looked like. And it is both better and much worse than I thought. So this engine, this M838 V8 twin turbo, for all intents and purposes, it's exactly the same as what you'd find in any other McLaren, except for the fact that it is very, very different. Now this thing on the side right here, that is the E motor, and this actually starts the engine, and it does a lot of other cool stuff. And that goes into this, the hybrid drive assembly. And that is just this little chunk between the engine and transmission. Now, the keen amongst you will notice that this is different. The bell housing, the mating surfaces to the bell housing here is completely different to any other McLaren. So in here is actually a real clutch, and that gives and takes away power from the E-motor because it is a hybrid drive. So I was super curious about this because my plans, and I didn't let you guys know this beforehand, I was going to take this engine and put it in my McLaren 675 LT because the engine on that blew. Now I thought that I could just slap a regular transmission on there and I'd be good to go, but that is definitely not the case. This block is different. So we're going to have to do a few things to make this block run. We're going to make it run better, and we're going to make it run a lot harder. But one of the things we have to do is change out these turbos. This is, well, that turbocharger has seen better days, but this is actually the good one because if you can tell, it still spins. Look at that. So this might be okay. It could need a slight rebuild and a lot of cleaning. I mean, a lot of cleaning. But this guy back here is, well, it's completely sealed up. I can, it's locked up. I can't turn this at all. And this had a ton of sand and stuff in it, so maybe it'll turn at some point if we clean it up, but I think both of those need to be upgraded and rebuilt. And in order to do that, we need to take all of this off. But can you just take a look at all of this? This is, well, It's the most technologically advanced car I've ever had in the shop. Definitely the most expensive car I've had in the shop. And right now it looks really sorry for itself, but I am super happy that this is out and we can screw with it, honestly. Right here in the front of the engine, you can see that there's a little bit of corrosion on these brackets here, but that's no big deal. Everything is where it's supposed to go because this car had 300 miles on it. And if we clean this up and we take off all the dirty components, I think this is going to be a really, really good runner. Now, this needs to go bye-bye because, as you can see, it's super dirty, but also it has corrosion here, and that made this entire bar basically useless. So I got a brand new one, well, a brand new one to me, a used part from AZ Cycle Parts, and this is going to fit totally fine with the P1 because the underside is essentially the exact same as a McLaren 650S. Now, a big difference is that this turbo is way, way, way bigger. These are TD05 turbos, and the P11 chassis, the 650S and 675 LT, had the TD04, the smaller housing turbo. And these put out, well, this engine made 727 horsepower just on the engine alone. Then you had about 170 with the e-motor. But these put out quite a bit of power, and I think they were a little bit laggy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart, see what we can clean, and then we can go to upgrading it. And then we're going to see about upgrading this engine, because 727 horsepower, it's nice, it's not good enough. And just like everything else on this project, it is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You'll notice that there's no turbo in this vicinity because turbo's right there. And, well, if you look in here, that looks the opposite of good. That looks like just real bad. These are the exhaust ports, and they're all sort of in crappy shape. But that's okay because we are going to be changing out a lot on the internals of this engine. But I wanted to take a look at this turbocharger. Hey, Jack.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
You tired?
No, it's the next day. We're good, right? We're wide awake. All right, I'm going to lay down.
You want to take a look at this turbo with me?
Yeah, let's look at this thing, man.
Okay. So, as Jack picks up this turbo... yeah. As Jack picks up this turbo, what do you think that is?
Oh, it's like the crystals. Salt crystals.
Salt crystals. That's good. That's good to go in a turbo.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Well, one cool thing I've noticed is that this doesn't have like a header arrangement where it has equal length or whatever. The 675 actually does have like a header design. This is just like a log manifold that they just slapped this turbo on. And you know a lot about these turbos, right? Because you have a Evo?
This is the, it looks like the 10.5. So, this is the bigger turbo. And, it looks really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, it doesn't move or nothing. There's corrosion everywhere. And this is a really good shot right here. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna slice my finger open. Hold on. You did slice your finger open.
That was carbon.
That was
yesterday with the carbon, but I'm a tough boy.
We will now put this to the side and Yeah, there we go. Put that to the side. And then we're going to clean all this up. And then this engine is going to go bye-bye. But it's not going to go bye-bye in this episode because I want to show you guys what I'm going to do to this engine and this car right now. And here we are. This is Cannonball Garage. And you'll notice that there are a bunch of McLarens, including that one, that P1, that really nice P1, and a 765 LT that makes somewhere north of 1,300 horsepower. So we are in good company. They make a lot of really fast, really nice cars. And the reason for that is because they modify them and they know why these cars break, and then they fix them when they break. And this guy, his name is Ivan.
Hi.
He fixes the cars and he makes them so they don't break when they do 1,300 wheel horsepower.
That's my job.
So we actually have some plans for my P1, right?
We do.
Let's go and show the people what these plans are. Oh, look at this. Look at that. So these, for people that don't know, are rods and pistons. These are the rods, those are the pistons, and these can hold how much power, roughly?
200 horsepower per cylinder, so 1,600 horsepower.
1,600 horsepower. Okay, that seems like a lot.
It's a decent amount. It's probably, well, it's definitely more than McLaren has traction for currently.
Yes.
So we'll address that eventually. But yeah, we're currently right at north of 1,312 horsepower. We made on Wayne's 765.
And that's at the wheels?
That's at the wheels, yeah. It's on our chassis dyno, and I'm sure there's some slip. You know, this isn't a hub dyno, so it's probably 1350, 1360, somewhere in that range. It's a lot of horsepower.
All right, so what I'm doing here is we are going to upgrade the engine in the P1. We're going to take it completely apart, and then we're going to put these parts in. Not only are we just upgrading them for power, we're upgrading them for displacement, because it's going to go from a 3.8 liter to a 4 liter.
Yep, we've got a crank lined up that's going to be able to allow us to stroke it. We're going to get more displacement out of it. It's going to go from 3.8 liters to 4 liters. Yeah, we're going to get rid of these weak components. You can see over here.
Look, it really is like a cooking show. Okay, so these are, this is a very sad boy right here.
Yes.
So this is what happened to my 675, except this disintegrated. What happens to cars when this happens? Like, why does that happen in McLarens?
So the main thing is these rods are a little bit weak. I don't know if you can see in the video, but this thing's got a curve to it. So
yeah,
we pulled this out of an engine that was still running. This was on its way out. Any more detonation, any more power, this thing would have ended up like these other rods over here. Your 675 specifically, if you look at this rod compared to, say, this rod, so this is like a 650, 720 rod. This is a 675 rod. Look at how thin that is.
Yeah, that's super
It's like
thin.
a little toothpick compared to them. So that's why you get these rod separations at lower power levels. So we're going to prevent that by putting in these nice H-beam rods. They're forged, they're better material, designed better. Like I said, 1,600 horsepower will be able to make be able to handle that amount of horsepower. Whether or not other components will be able to handle that, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's weakest link time. So.
Well, we're not going to go for 1,600 horsepower.
No.
I think if we can do something like 1,000 on the engine, which would be somewhere like 875 or something like that at the wheels, that would be really good.
A lot of it's going to depend on the size of the turbo, the fuel system that's in there. All of these things contribute to how much power you can actually make.
Yeah.
This is just going to be for handling that power. It doesn't actually make you any more power. It's all going to be in the tune, the fueling, the size of the turbo, how much air you can actually move through that engine.
So a lot of people in the comment section have told me to go like titanium rods or whatever. There's a reason why you don't do that on a car that like you actually need to drive.
It's unneeded expense at that point. Lightweight rods, yes, you know, it allows the engine to rev up a little bit more quickly, frees up maybe a tiny bit of horsepower, but honestly, it's mostly hype. There's no reason for it. This is going to get you by. This is going to suit what you need to do. Yeah, there's no maintenance on it. There's no worries of a titanium rod breaking or
Yeah.
galling, aluminum rods, stuff like that. You know, we want it to last.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we could make, you know, an nth more horsepower if we did something like that. We can't even get the traction to, you know, for 1,312 horsepower
Yeah.
currently. What would be the point of going for 1,400 horsepower,
Yeah.
1,600 horsepower? We'll get those things figured out. I think trans is going to be the next weak link, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, we don't know what's going to happen. So we'll gradually build on the program and go from there.
And also, I mean, titanium rods are one of these things where they, like, the material itself is very strong, but it's also very brittle. Steel tends to give a little bit. So that's what you want in a car that you are essentially daily driving, or you could daily drive. And the same thing goes for the piston. So these are forged steel?
Yep. Forged. This is forged aluminum.
Oh, forged aluminum,
The
okay.
wrist pins are going to be special tool steel, extra beefy. They're a little bit shorter than the factory ones, so it's going to reduce the weight. These are nice forged. They've got a special machining process on here that's going to help with atomization
Yeah.
and combustion. We have hard anodized ring lands. We have special coating on the sides to keep them from scuffing. It's going to be a pretty awesome setup when it's all done and said.
So, I have never taken apart a P1 engine before, but I would love to send the engine down to you, and then we could like take it apart.
Absolutely.
Because I want to see how much seawater is actually in this thing.
I haven't taken apart a P1 engine either, so it's going to be a new and exciting experience. I love taking apart some of these newer motors and seeing the changes, what McLaren has done, how they've grown over time. I've seen lots and lots of things that have just amazed me with these engines, so it's going to be a good time, yeah.
Well, wonderful. So I can't wait to install all these. I did notice that over here you have you got one of these blocks, and it's seen better days. It looks kind of like mine, honestly.
Yeah, this is out of a 650, I believe, that had a rod exit out the block.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a good hole. This is now a table. That's
Yes,
a table.
It's absolutely a table. This is actually our research and development block. We're currently in the process of getting our own main bolts made.
Whoa.
So that we can tie these together. Currently we have ARP ones. We're getting CSO branded special main bolt package together for this too. We already have our head stud package together. So slowly but surely we're putting together additional components that we can put into these engines to make them better and better.
Wonderful. So if anybody wants to do anything to their McLaren, honestly, if you get a tune that makes 150, 200 horsepower over stock, you need to start doing stuff to the engine, because they do this. That's what happens after a while.
We've, for a while now, we've been limiting torque to about 650. We'll carry it out longer than, factory does. But yeah, about 650 foot-pounds of torque, and then we're, really asking a lot of those factory connecting rods. So yeah, if you want to go up above that, definitely got to upgrade those rods as a minimum.
One of the things that I've noticed is that these parts, even though you have a bunch of engines here, they are actually very hard to come by.
Absolutely.
McLaren doesn't sell just like engine components, right?
They sell some top-end components, but anything on the bottom end, the block, the crankshaft, the pistons, the connecting rods, the bearings, all of that stuff is unavailable unless you buy a crate motor.
And we got one back there.
We do have
Can we take a look at it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
So this is a 675 LT Spider, and that had an engine oopsie, and this is a brand new McLaren engine.
It comes with the wire harness, it comes with the injectors, it comes with the balancer on the front, the turbos, I mean, the alternator, the AC compressor, I mean, everything is there. They actually run these engines before they ship them out. Ricardo PLC is who builds the engines. They'll actually run them on an engine dyno.
Yeah.
They come in, there's carbon on the pistons, there's oil in them. It's pretty crazy. So they've been run. You plug and play and you're done. It's unfortunately pretty expensive.
Well, yeah, so let's talk about how expensive these are, because I've heard tell of these engines being north of 50, 60 grand. This one I actually know is like 80.
Yes, all done and said, putting it in, fluids, everything. You're talking about $100,000 to replace the engine in your car.
And then you might still have the problem with the rods going out, and then you're gonna be at the same place. So definitely, if you have any sort of engine like this, a McLaren engine that you want to keep reliable with power. I mean, they make an insane amount of power as is, but if you want to add to that power, make them a little bit more reliable, definitely go to these guys, and especially him, because he knows what he's talking about. Okay, so I have one more stop on my tour, and let's go there right now. And welcome to the final stop on our tour, the Hamilton Collection. Unfortunately, Steve wasn't here, but this thing is here. And this is a car that is very important because I may be getting the battery from this car. Now, Steve is doing a battery upgrade. He's gonna get the upgraded Speedtail battery, which is a little bit lighter. It has a little bit less energy density, but since it's lighter, it makes the car faster. And I'm gonna get the old battery from this. Hopefully, if McLaren can acquire a battery in time. These are notoriously hard to get, but I love this spec. I love the color. I love the carbon accents. And if you look in here, it's color matched here. It's a really, really clean car. So how many miles are on this thing?
Oh my gosh, I think 8,000 right around.
Oh, 8,000, that's really not too bad, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the higher mileage cars, right?
It is, we drive it, but it takes it for the most part.
So I want to get my car to 100,000 or 200,000.
That would be awesome. I hope you do. I'll be watching along.
So this is something where I've actually never sat in a P1 that hasn't been flooded. I've sat in mine before, but I have never turned one on before. And what I have today is a key for this P1, and I'm gonna turn it on for the very first time, and I am super excited. This is notoriously hard to get into because I am a big boy. So I am going to try to make sure I do this correctly. And all right, easy does it. There we go. Sweet. All right. Ooh. Wow. Okay. So we have our start button here. Throw on the brake, and oh my goodness. Look at that. That is so cool. That is so cool. And this car is straight pipe. You can definitely hear it. Wow. Whew. All right, let me not smoke out the shop. That was incredibly cool. So you have everything working here. You have the E-mode, charge. I can't wait until my car is exactly like this. Actually, it's gonna be quite a bit more modified than this car. But Steve, I know you're not here, but thank you so much. All right, let's see if this other side has it. I don't think so. All right, because can't pop. Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, that one smells.
They both smell. Oh! Awesome.